Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach online art class that we do here every Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. live. So if you're tuning in, we are going to do different things today. So let me just refresh for some of the new folks, tell you why we're doing this. Obviously, with the situation, the health situation, we are doing this for the children at home, the parents, the families. Anybody really can participate. This class is designed towards that. It's a guided about 2 hours, of assignments, and we kind of start from scratch and guide you through. You can interact with us via Facebook Live if you like to tell us your comments, show us your pictures that people are actually sending us, and so yeah, we're doing this because of that. So in the comfort of your home, you can paint or draw. We're trying to inspire your creativity here. So today we're going to review the 3 assignments that we've done, and we're gonna touch up the last one. The last one we did a landscape, but we're gonna touch it up and actually do like the final touches. And if time permits, which most likely will, I want to do something a little bit more fun today, so you can do at home. So this class is geared towards the community. Anyone can participate. So thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get started right away, but let me show you. I'm just trying to get my laptop to work so I can read your feedback as we're live. In any case, I'll start off with the first assignment, just reviewing, kind of showing you what I did here. Basically, I showed you, can you see this right here? So I showed you this image from this book, George Washington Carver, right? So it's a portrait pretty much. And I did a grid on it with 1/2-inch squares. And then I enlarged it by 1-inch squares. And this is my final result. I actually put it in a frame. And I'll show you what it looks like. It's not finished, but I wanted to kind of wrap that up and kind of show you what it looks. Can you see that over there? So, this frame is not designed for this drawing, so I just put it a little bit higher. If you're ever framing things, put things, leave more space on the bottom, and the other sides you could, even out, but this is okay. This is just a sample. I left the grid visible on it. Normally you would erase it and keep working and working. This is by no means finished, but you can see the progress, right? You can see there yet? Yeah. Okay. So this is it. This is the shading techniques. I didn't really talk much about them. I just kind of said I did the basic shading, but there's a lot more to that. But the idea was for the grid. And then some folks, what I want you to do is when we do assignments like this, you choose an image that is appropriate for your skill or your child's skill. Okay, and so I did an example too, right? So I'll show you the next example. This is the next example. So this little bird right here, you can see the gridded. And I simplified it. I didn't enlarge it. I kept it the same size. So you see square by square. And you can see I started to add and extend the drawing. Right, so that this is it's kind of simple, but it takes a lot of patience, and it gives you pretty precise results the more patient you are. So I'm gonna wrap up this technique with this review. If anything, you can simplify the grid and make 4 squares. Draw a circle, make 4 squares, and copy them. Or like something even like simple like that, like just shapes and things like that, and enlarging, it's a different it's like enlarging the scale might be a little bit different, but this is geared towards parent and children too, so the parent can guide the children. So anyways, this wraps up our examples for this part. And then our third assignment, I'm gonna pick up here this is for the third class we did actually. Yes, so I think we have 3 classes, maybe 4 classes. Right, no, this is our third class. Yes, so in any case, this is a sample. Actually, this is my drawing or painting. And the idea behind this was just to do a freehand, right? So we're thinking of a landscape over the ocean, right? Or well, more like a seascape actually. There's no land visible here. We're gonna add a few details, maybe highlight or sharpen up some things or things like that. So we're going to touch this one up, and then we'll do something a little more free, to wrap up our lesson today. But this is what we have in progress. So I'm gonna actually get started with that. Let me move my laptop out of the way. So I'm trying to read your comments here. Are there any comments? Not yet. Okay, great. So let's see. Can you see the? Okay, so it's backwards, I know, but bear with me because I'm gonna add some details to this painting. As you can see, I have red, yellow. I have a jar here of white paint, and I have blues and greens, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna need. Maybe brown or black for things in the foreground, like maybe boats or things that are on the water or the sky, like birds, like silhouetted images. Maybe I'll use that. So can you hand me the palettes? And I have the brushes here. So I'll start to the bottom. I'll start highlighting or actually working. This is pretty dry now because acrylic dries pretty fast. If you're at home using oils, it's probably still wet. It probably is still wet, and but most likely you're using acrylics. If you're at home. But acrylics are nice because they dry pretty fast. So you have to kind of work, if you want to work wet into wet, which means the paint is not dried. You can blend on the canvas. So you can use several different kinds of brushes. I have several to pick here. The smaller ones are for the smaller details. Maybe I want to go with maybe a half an inch, maybe a quarter inch, half an inch for my sky. I'm gonna touch up my sky. All right. So does it show we're still recording? All right. So great. Let's see. All right. So I'm gonna touch up the corners and see how that looks. All right. I like that. I want it to be a little bit more orangey. So you mix, right? And like I said, this is your own style. So feel free to improvise, like as far as color blending, I'm mixing the color. If you have a color that's already made, you can use that as well. So the idea is to cover up as much as you can. Right, blend and kind of give it that interesting effect. Like, so this is going to take a little bit of patience, just kind of. And if you stretch the brush, it gives you like this nice, this nice like sky, like atmosphere feeling. I have a few clouds, and I don't want to cover those with red. One thing I want to mention in regards to colors, there's a whole lot about colors that you can learn, right? There's entire classes or that you can learn about colors, color theory, that's what it's called, right? But we're not going to get too intricate into that. We're just going to play with the colors here, but I do want to mention that the red colors, orange colors, those colors are usually considered to be warm. Right? You're probably, if you're new to this, you're probably thinking, how do colors have a temperature? Well, they do, in the sense that they give you that feeling. I'm gonna grab the blue real quick here. There we go. They do that in the sense that that the warmer colors refer to like red, yellow, orange. So if you ever looked at a color wheel, they're usually in that order, like reds, oranges, like kind of make you think of fire, right? The color of fire is red. I mean, I've seen blue fire, right? But that's like gas burning or things like that. But blue and green. They're kind of more of the what they call the cool colors. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can see the water here is more on the green side, and it makes you think of cool, right? Like give me another palette, please. It makes you think of water. You know, the water, you're thinking of cool water. At least here in California, our waters are cool. You know, they're not like in the equator where they're warmer, but they're cool. But it's cool and sunny, right? Thank you. So basically, we're touching up our painting. There you go. And another thing, if you add more water, it becomes more transparent per se. Like you can see some of the undercolors. Like I have white highlights, and I like those. So I'm just gonna touch it up with kind of like with the wet brush, like thinned out paint. And you can see that's kind of covering everything pretty. Like it doesn't seem like a big change, but it gives it this, you know, it gives it this glowy, translucent. What is that? Like you can see through, right? And that, because sometimes you can do that with the ocean water. The more you go into, at least here from the Pacific, the more you go towards the inside of the ocean, or you know, or away from the shore, the water tends to look more blue, you know. I understand this from the sky reflecting on it. And anyways, that's for you, the ocean lovers are out there. Nice little fun facts. So you can see over there I just kind of touched it up with green, and then this is the time you wanna. This is the time you want to take advantage. See, I put a little bit too much yellow, so it gave me this green that's more kind of like a yellow green. So I'm not gonna need that. Anyway, so the water's cool. There you go. Yeah, I'm just gonna blend this. Oh yeah, so the other thing I was gonna say is you want to take advantage of this to cover the areas that didn't get painting, like the white spots, right? So it's kind of like you're covering that, you know, you're covering the white spots. And be free, you know, actually, yeah, that's another thing I mentioned last time. When you kind of freely move the brush, like you want to go horizontal for the water part, because kind of that's how water does. So, you know, long brush strokes and cover some of this yellow. This yellow right here is actually what we call reflected light. So the reflected light from the sunlight is being reflected right there. It's like a mirror, right? So that's what that is. At least that's the Desire effect, right? And you know, so you make a line right there, kind of emphasize that. All right. So I'm gonna touch up the sun. Kind of bring it closer to the water, kind of where it makes it feel like it's going behind the water as opposed to like floating over it, right? Because we don't want it to look like it's floating. So you want to clean your brushes too if you're switching colors, right? So you have water, like a jar of water, something like this. I like a medium size. And you have to clean your water constantly if you're gonna paint for like longer, because as I mentioned before, if it gets muddy, if the brushes get muddy, then you start to get muddy colors, and that may not be what you want to do. Anyway, so this, I think I put too much water, but you know what? It's perfect actually. There's my sun. There you go. And patience. Remember, we talked about that. So now the sun looks kind of like it's more attached to the water. So I'm gonna use this same paint because I already put like a yellow under painting from last session. So I'm gonna use this yellow to cover it, not just kind of like randomly. And you can see the effect over there. You can see the yellow. Yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, the yellow is under. So I have 3 layers of color here. I have like this blue green on the bottom, and then this yellow green on the middle, and now I have this orange on the top, and those are kind of like overlapping. And I'm using the strokes like this. I'm using the thin part of the brush. You can use a smaller brush too if you want, and just kind of move in this direction, and it'll give you a feeling of like of the water, right? That the water's actually flowing. So, you know, just, and you don't have to cover everything. You can just maybe, like, as I get farther away, kind of like skip, and you know, it may even fade away or fade out. All right, so if you're leaving us comments, no, okay, so I'm gonna give up on this laptop. I was trying to use a different laptop, but my internet connection is not good, but that's all right. We'll just work. There you go. So, and you can see that like the edges, I don't know if you can see there, but they're kind of blending in with the orange. But I want to lift the brush up a little bit. You kind of make it like it's fading, you know. And the nice thing about a drawing like this is like you're making things up. It's not, doesn't have to be realistic, right? But the drawing is, but the colors you can, just like photographers, right? If there are any photographers out there, you use a filter or, you know, enhance the colors, and they're great photos, but in real life, they're not even like close, you know, they're totally different, but it looks cool, and it's very, and that's kind of like what we're going for here. Like, okay, so that's my, how's that looking over there? It's standing out, right? So, it's standing out. My clouds, I have my clouds that are white, and I really don't like that. What I did is they're just straight up white, and that's okay. But I want to add like a hint of another color. So I'll try. Let's see. Give me another palette, please. So I'm trying to keep the warm colors in one palette, the cool ones in another one, and maybe the white in a different one. But that's my choice. You can use one palette for everything. Just make sure that your mixing area is always clean so that you don't get different colors. All right, so we're just touching up our last painting from before. So you get a little bit of this white. All right, so I have this white. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. I'm gonna actually add a darker blue. See what effect I get. Right? Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna add just a tiny bit. All right, I just added like half of a drop, you know, and it's still white, but it has, I don't know if you can see there, but it has like this cool tone to it. All right, maybe add a little more. So I'm trying to keep a white, but I want to give it a cool tone or color, actually, cool temperature, right? So here's my cloud, right? I'm just kind of stretching it out, right? There you go. So that kind of looks not the white straight from the bottom. There you go. There you go. All right, so it's not bad. Actually, I'm getting the effect I wanted. There you go. So just kind of going over, and if you miss a few things, that's okay. All right, so let me see if I can add a little bit of blue to the sky. Because the sky, as it gets closer to the ocean, it picks up the light from the ocean, right? And vice versa, like the water picks up the light from the ocean, and so it's kind of like a give and take. That's what colors are. They're essentially a give and take. They're give and take. This is a little more purple on the purple side. Maybe I'll just give it a few hints to my clouds. There you go. Okay. How's that looking over there? Good. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done. As far as, I mean, I can keep adding and adding and adding, and you know, this essentially could go on and on. You know, but at some point you want to stop because then you might change the effects and kind of stray away from the, you know, from the goal. So that's another thing. That when do you know when to stop, right? That's sometimes something that artists may struggle with, you know. And some artists may answer, "Well, I just feel it, you know." So, all right, that works, you know. I'll put a little bit of that blue. So I want to cover this yellow. I don't know. I'm not too happy with it. There you go. There you go. Trying to give it a little hints of blue. Just a little bit of hints of blue as I get closer to the horizon. The horizon is the line that divides the sky from the ground. In this case, the ocean, right? There you go. So I kind of like highlighted my horizon, touched up the edges, and I want to give it a few highlights of to the ocean, like water. Let's see. Okay, that may be too much. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna go for a smaller brush. So now we're gonna get into the finer details. So for the finer details, you want to use smaller brushes, something like this, right? So something small like this. You can see that over there. All right. Let's see. All right. So I'm just gonna add like little highlights. All right. A little bit of highlights. Is there any comments on there yet? No? Okay, great. If you watch this later and you want to leave a comment, I'll come back and respond via comment as well, like typing. If you're watching us live, you have a question, go ahead and type it on there. I hope you're enjoying this. All right, so okay, so I said I was going to put a little bit of highlight. I started getting carried away here and I'm losing my blue. So maybe just a few random ones. There you go. That's it. All right. right, I think I need to stop on this water part. Yeah, okay, I'll leave that alone. Let that dry. And let's see. Okay. So the smaller brush, you can use that for the drawing part. I lost my drawing of the boats, but I was just trying to illustrate like, you know, the perspective bigger as it gets closer to you. Bigger, I'm looking at the video over here live, and it looks different over there than here. So I'll pick it up and so you can see it from a different light. It was looking a little bit dark on the monitor over there. How's that looking? You can see everything there? No? You don't have to zoom in. I mean, you could if you want to, but I just want to pick this up for a little bit and so people can see. And I'm painting backwards, right? Well, I'm not painting backwards, but you're looking at it backwards. So I wanted to, there you go. Got my video delayed over here. Yeah, it looks a little bit muddy on the picture where the sun reflected. Okay, right. So I'm gonna add a few highlights. So this is like when you're painting, you step back and look at it. You know, you literally sit back and look at it from another perspective. You know, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a few highlights like on the water, because it's starting to look flat, right? So I'm gonna go back to that part. I have a light shining right on here, so it's bringing all the lights out, and I see a lot brighter than perhaps what our video is doing. But so I'm gonna put a few touches of light. There you go. I'm just gonna do that. Kind of random. And then it'll blend in. You'll see the there you go. All right. So the goal here is to make it stand out. That's kind of doing that. All right. Remember what I told you earlier about knowing when to stop? That's a tough one. If you get into the painting like I'm doing here, right? So I'm gonna force myself to stop as far as the sunlight, and I'm gonna get onto the details. I can come back to this at another time, but it looks really bright here, and on the picture it looks different, but you get the idea. So I'm gonna use black. Usually black is not recommended, like straight up. Black is usually not recommended straight up, but I'm gonna use it here so it can look better on the video. You can make your own black with various colors, like, you know, blue, brown, or you know, always like have a hint of color in your black. You know, black is very strong. Once you put it on, it's like one little drop can be enough to affect everything. You know, like you have to be very careful with black. Black is very powerful. So if you're a child out there watching us, black is so light right? Light, or what is light made out of? You know, maybe your parents know, right? Your teachers obviously know, but it's basically all the colors are sunlight or reflected sunlight that they hit the objects. So I'm gonna use a small brush, actually very small, like maybe even smaller than that, just so I can start working on my drawing. These are good brushes. These are small brushes. So my drawings, I'm gonna draw birds, right? And I'm just making this up. I don't have a reference, so I'm making things up, right? I can see my old drawing here of some flying birds. You know, you probably seen this in like California sunset images. But the reason why they're done like this, I'm gonna cover the old drawing. See, if there are birds flying, can you see that over there on the video? The one that is closest to us is bigger, and the one that is farthest away is smallest. And you can keep on adding, right? So I have 3 birds right there. You can see that. So I'm using the very thin brush. Maybe I'll do the last one. This is where it gets tricky. If you got shaky hands, you have to hold it steady. Another trick to holding things steady is you can use a ruler and put it right here and do that. In fact, I'll do that to show you, because the idea is to show you techniques, learn a few things, right? So you know, you can do this, right? Some artists do this for paintings. So they rest their hand right here. So I'm showing you a trick, right? I'm telling you, there's all kinds of tricks. So everyone can do art, right? If you just have to have the tools, the techniques, right? And then practice, like anything else, practice. So now you can see those birds, like, you know, I can keep on going, right? I can add more birds over here, but I don't. I have a flying balloon here. It got covered from the paint, but I can see the under drying. I wasn't sure I wanted to keep it, but I do want to keep the little boat that's here. This little boat, I'm just simplifying the boats, right? I don't have a reference to look at. Just gonna do small. Actually, let's see. Probably I should start. So I'm analyzing this painting, as you can see. So I have added birds over here. So I want to add something on this side to keep things balanced, right? That's another thing about paintings, that visually you balance things out. If you have more images on one side and the other side is blank, it may not work. You know, it may feel like it's heavy on one side and our eyes are really tricking us, tricking our brain, and it'll make the painting feel like it's falling this way, you know. So that's why we're gonna try to add things on this side. All right, so let's see. You know, another thing, now that I'm looking at the drawing, I have, I can see the waves over here, but you know, I'll come back to that. I wanna see, just choose an area that is dried. I went light with the brush, so some of the areas are still wet. So I'm just gonna go over. This is black. It'll take over. So what I'll do is I'll make a little boat. Maybe right here. I'm gonna try to do like a canoe, right? So I'm just going by freehand. It's not representational by any means. You know, maybe like a canoe. There you go. All right, well, I'll play with this drawing. Maybe I add a sail. So now I'm kind of free drawing. Let's see. There you go. There you go. That's it. It's just simplified. Maybe I'll put a little bit of black and have that blend in with the bottom or the under layer if it's still wet. There you go. Simplify. There you go. All right, so that's gonna be the one of the shapes, right, of my boat. Silhouette. Maybe I'll put a sail, maybe a little flag. I'll do that. There you go. Should I put like a little sail, maybe? I'm not a sea person, right? So my memory of sails is not as great. But you know, like I said, this is your painting, so you make it up. Somebody says, that doesn't look like a sail. They say, hey, this is my sail, you know? Right? That's why we're doing freehand. I mean, if we wanted to do representational, you know, we get a picture and draw from the grid, right? And like I said, artists, like sometimes they draw great from memory, but trust me, they know, they study the image a long time. And yeah, they may personalize it in their own style, but a lot of times they memorize the image, you know. In fact, maybe I'll show you what I mean by that at the, you know, before I begin the other assignment. The other assignment is more fun. Well, everything's fun for me. I love art, as you can see. But the other one is fun in the sense that it's like a game. There's a game element to that. Okay, so there's one of my cells. It's kind of small for being in the front, so I may make it larger. How's that looking over there? But it's all black. It's just like this silhouette. It's supposed to be like a silhouette, but this is where it's gonna stand out. So I still have my old or my blue from before. So I'm gonna take advantage. I'm gonna switch brushes here. You can use the same one or just dry the old one, right? But I'm gonna put a little bit of blue with a hint of green. And watch what I'm gonna do. So if the light is coming from the sun, right, towards this little boat or sail, it's gonna have a shadow. It's gonna have a shadow this way. And I'll do another lesson on shadows, right? But for now, I'll just add it on here. Okay, I chose the wrong color. Now I gotta clean it up. I need a dark blue, not a light blue. So this is dark. This is dark that we want for our shadow. It's called a cast shadow. So we're gonna add a cast shadow. Maybe I'll mix it up with a little bit of black. See, I put a little bit of black, but like, remember what I said, black is very strong. So I basically lost my color, but there's still a hint of color there. Now it looks grayish, but you can see a hint of blue. So basically you just do a shape under, but because this is water, the shape is wiggly, like it's not perfect, right? It's like, and it also extends like the sun. All right, so there's my, let me see here. Okay, so I have, All right. There we go. It looks like I removed the undercolor, so apparently it was still wet. But I'll just touch it up with the dark. And again, I have to keep reminding myself, this is freehand freestyle, right? So I have to constantly remind myself, like, not to worry. This is for fun, you know, not. So this is the constant struggle, right? That we have, like. That's why it's good exercise for the mind. It's healthy, right? It keeps you. It's kind of giving me this feeling of calmness, you know, like I had an issue and I just resolved it. Just simplify the thing, you know. And if I mess up, like, well, what did the great Bob Ross said? There's no mistakes in art. Like he will literally like put a. There you go. Now my shadow is kind of taking over my drawing. And I don't like that, so I'll just make this a little bit larger. Just like free myself, right? There you go. That means I'm gonna have to make my kind of, there you go. You know what, this cell is like it's not like your traditional cell, but I like it. And I'm gonna leave it like that. What I'll do is I'll highlight some of the edges so the drawing can stand out. And you can see I'm experimenting here, right? And that was the reason for this drawing. Like you experiment. If you're using watercolor, that might be a little bit more challenging. It's simple, but you can't really use white for watercolors. So you use the white of the paper. All right. So once the white is gone, it's gone. That's a challenge, you know. But actually, I may do a watercolor exercise in the future. I have several watercolor paintings. And I was told that was one of my strengths from my college professors. Because I said most people have trouble using that white as a background. All right, so that's it. That's one of my cells, one of my little boats here. I'm gonna add another one over here. And it doesn't look like a real cell, but it's all right. I'm happy with it, and that's what matters. Here's another one. Kind of like a bowl, right? Then you have there you go. It's probably going to be hard to see from the camera because the black is like so strong. Over there, Yada, does it look like a cell? Or is it losing this? So I'm using white for the edges so you can see the shape. Okay, as you can see, I couldn't help it. It's in my nature. Now I'm shading it. All right, well. All right. Kind of happy with this now. Yep. In fact, I'll add a little bit of blue to the shadows. And this is the fun part. Well, everything is fun for me when it comes to art, you know. So you're experimenting. Take your time, you know. You have all the time. Now we got extra time, right? Isn't that ironic? Like life is so fast. We're always running around doing things, but now we got a lot of time, you know. I mean, a lot of folks are at home, you know, that are not physically at work. They might still be working from home. Other folks are completely out of work. So sending good vibes to everyone out there that's struggling. Things will get better, you know. We keep hearing that, and that's good because that means we have hope. You know, and that's what matters. You know, we have hope. You know. But art is essential. Art is essential. To me, is essential, and I think to a lot of people, creativity is essential. You know, when you're a child, you're like inventing things. You're like, you're, you know, playing imaginary things, and you know, all that is art. You know, as you're creative. You know, but we lose that when, you know, with time and in life, and sometimes we need to come back to that. You know, but art is very essential to the well-being of people. You know, it can help you gain focus. There's a lot of, like any discipline, you know, like martial arts or, you know, exercise or, you know, I mean, obviously exercise gives you health benefits, but this gives you health benefits, mental health benefits, you know. So you can see my boats, right? I don't know, this painting is kind of getting its own, it's kind of directing it. I'm not planning anything. I had planned smaller ships or boats, and they're kind of becoming this weird sails, but these are not your traditional sails. They actually have holes on the sail. Why? I don't know. That's how they came out, and I like that, so I'm going to leave that. So, but one of the things I want to point out is big, medium, and then small. I'm going to make a small one right here. Right just below the horizon line. Right here. So I'm just doing like inverted bowls, like kind of like a upside down, or like a kind of like a cereal bowl, right? That's the easy way to explain it. And my cell is like, it's invented, right? Like this cell would not work in real life. There's holes in the middle of the cell, but it's got a cool design, and I'm gonna leave it because maybe these boats don't need wind, right? Maybe they move with something else, right? You create your own story. That's the beauty when you do art, you know. You create your own story. So this one that's farther away is gonna have heights of white or like lighter. It's like a grayish. You know how like right now we see that the smog is gone from the city and things like that. But another thing that's never gone is what we call atmospheric perspective, right? And that's like the dust particles, dust, smog particles. All those particles in the distance kind of block the sunlight. So, so that's, okay, that gray came out too white. So I'm gonna darken it up. They're supposed to be silhouetted images, but they started to become a little bit 3D. And that's all right, I like that. All right, so, all right, that's too much white, but you know what, let's just move it around and see what happens. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Just final. This is the hard part, knowing when to stop, right? Okay, so maybe I give it a little bit of a highlight. The cast shadow, I'm gonna throw in a few highlights. Just a few, not too many. How's that? How's it looking over there on the, yeah, good, okay. So you can see you got some birds kind of flying here, and we got some mini sailboats, but some of them, and I can add I'm gonna add a last one. Let's see if I have the smallest brush I can find. Yeah, this may work. So I'm gonna draw one final one. You gotta clean your brushes, guys. This brush right here, somebody just put it right back in the jar. They didn't clean it and they ruined the brush. So take care of your brushes. If you don't clean them, that's what will happen. The paint will dry on there, and that's it for that brush. Let's see if I can use it as a, keep trying. So someone didn't clean this brush, and so don't do this to your brushes. Make sure you clean them. So let me do one last sail, like just a tiny bit right here. Actually, that was a good thing that this brush was stiff, because now I have like a Sharpie tool. Okay. Well, I'll take that back. Alright, I'll just make a little hint of, yeah, this is very challenging. The smaller you paint, the greater the challenge. You ever seen those paintings where they paint like on a rise, they write your name or something like that? Like that's like a nice skill. I don't have that skill. So I'm just, there you go. So it's just a hint. It's not even clear, but it's farther away, so it gives you an idea that you can see the little one. Maybe that little one might need a touch of I'm gonna use the other brush. That ruined brush is ruined, guys. Like this brush is ruined, so it's gone. Take care of your brushes, guys. Take care of your brushes. And one way to clean your brushes is with a bar of soap. It'll get all the paint out. Like my brushes here, or the gallery brushes here are not that much of a great example for clean brushes, but you know what, they work. And we're just grateful to have something, right? But take care of your brushes. Okay. Let's see, I want to give it a little bit of highlight to the last boat. Okay, that may work. I'm just going to leave it now. It's small. Every time I say I'm going to leave it and I touch something, I feel like I made the wrong choice. Okay, that's it. That's just it. I tried, and it looks pretty good actually. It's kind of like blurry, but that's the effect that you want. Like in the distance, things are not clear. They're kind of blurry. All right. What else can we add to this one? Let's see. So we're almost done with our first hour. And then the last hour, I'll do something kind of fun. All right. But I want to add something here to this part of there's a hot air balloon over here, but it's already too populated here. It's too crowded, right? Maybe I want to add I think I'm going to add something of nature, like a part of a mountain that's kind of sticking out, right? Let's try that, see what happens. So this is a bold move, you know. This move is very bold because you're pretty much covering up. So this is kind of like a boulder from a mountain, or like a part of a mountainous area. All right. Yep. Can you see that? Maybe I should bring this way. Yeah. All right. So, and the black kind of represents the shadow. That's why I chose black. Although here it's more of a black and gray. But I'm making things up, right? I'm making things up. I don't have a, but I've done things like this before, right? So this might seem like a prior image of maybe another artwork I might have done, right? All right, I'm gonna, let's see. I'll let that dry for a minute. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab something. How's it looking over here, Yana? Oh, you're doing great with the camera work, huh? Let's zoom in a little more. In fact, let's do this for the viewer. All right. So now you can see, let me zoom in a little bit. All right. All right. Looking pretty good, huh? Not bad. Now, it's looking pretty good, as you can see there in the camera. Can you see that over there? Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I did is I added white to the reflection of the sun, and that made it stand out. I added the birds and the sail ships, big, medium, small, and smallest. So the farther away they are, the smaller they get. Now this boulder, I'm not done with it. I'm gonna add a few more details. A few more details. Let's see. So I'm gonna use white. Let me pour a little bit of white here. There you go. I think it looks better with the details, huh? It's and one of the things that this black does, it's making the colors stand out more. It's weird. Like I'm telling you, every color affects the next color. This color affects that one. This black makes this color change. Now it looks lighter, it looks brighter, because we have a comparing element here. We have a mountain, right? That all of a sudden we just made up, and it's dark. It's just like the shadow part of the mountain, right? Kind of like stairs, right? I'm just making this up, right? So I'm gonna make cracks or like crevices on the mountain, but I'm gonna use white. We'll see. I'll just blend it in a little bit and see how that looks. All right, so now it's kind of like a gray mountain. If you're using watercolor, yeah, your paper, you're doing like darker colors on the, you're kind of doing the same because the bottom is dry. But if it's wet, everything's gonna kind of smear, you know. But I'll do a lesson on watercolors in the future. This is more of a freehand. So I did the gray, and the gray's kind of looking pretty good. I actually enjoying this. But I don't like this kind of like stairs, because it's starting to look like I want it to look more organic. So what I'll do is there you go. Just gonna play with the shape here. There you go. Maybe parts of it are poking out this way. There you go. So I'm gonna use the gray, white, and black, make a little bit of gray. Then maybe, oh, this brush is too big. So let me use the small brush. Yeah, this brush is better. Okay. So I'm just gonna follow. There you go. I'm making things up, guys, so feel free to do that. Feel free to make things up. There's an initial, I guess, like starting point, but right now it's taking a life of its own, and that's a beautiful thing about art. It does that, you know. It sometimes. So what I'll do is on the top I'll make it lighter. There you go. So as opposed to black. Another thing that usually sunsets have are like palm trees, and I was gonna do that, but I don't know. I just thought like maybe mountain would kind of be a little more interesting, like, because you're not expecting that. It's kind of like really a boulder there, like, I don't know, maybe you know how volcanoes make islands, so maybe it's the birth of an island, right? You can make an island in the background, right? Thank you guys for watching us. We have a few people here liking our light painting. Thank you for watching. Any comments there? No, I guess people are just watching. That's okay too, you know. Shout out to everybody watching us for pressing like. There you go. So now I'm kind of tracing, just kind of doing like crevices on the, you know, to give it that textury, kind of like mountains have, right? They're not just flat. There's crevices, cracks. There's all kinds of things, you know. That's what mountains do. You know, and drawing is basically, drawing and painting, right? It's like, basically, if you're doing representational things, you know, like landscapes or, you know, even objects or whatever it is, all you're doing is like observing and remembering, right? So that's kind of like observation. You know, that's one of you know, that's the thing, like your observation, memory, and coordination. So this is, you know, a lot of you know, using a lot of, there you go. So it's kind of like, it's looking better, right? Like with the gray, because it makes you feel like it's reflecting. Maybe I can put fire coming out of here. No? My daughter's over here shaking her head. See, the thing is, you can add more things, right? Like, what can you add? You can keep on adding things, and then it'll be a different painting. So the challenge is knowing when to stop, I think I am gonna stop. I want to keep going, but I want to, yeah, to bring me another canvas. One of the blank canvases is in the small room where the accordions are. So I'm gonna do another freehand assignment. It's already past 6 o'clock, or 5 o'clock actually. So the last hour I'm gonna do an assignment that's gonna be really fun actually. I was gonna do it with drawing, but I have a lot of paint out here, so I'm gonna take advantage of that since the brushes are already set and do a painting assignment. It's gonna be a similar assignment. The next one is more like a game you can play at home if you're, if you're on the accordion table. Next on the accordion room, there are tables, or check toward the 2 rooms. Maybe this other room, I'm not sure. You just bring me the canvases that you can find, the blank ones. So I got my daughter over here helping me with the camera work and bringing me material. Okay. Well, I can add like a cloud of smoke coming from here. Maybe it's a volcano in progress, right? And there could be more, right? Like I can change the sky. I like the red, although it's too strong, but you know what? That's cool. What I'll do is I'll expand the yellow. I'll put yellow. I have yellow here, so let's see what happens. Don't wanna. Okay. So maybe I should stop, but I gotta. It's hard, Once you. This is the fun part, like I want to stop because it looks good, but I'm like, oh, and I can add this and I can add that. It's kind of like you get carried away. But we'll see. All right, so kind of brighten the sky a little bit. No blank canvases, maybe someone put them away. I'm gonna go check on that. I'll be right back. So meanwhile, zoom in. Let me set it this way so people can see it. So people can see what it looks like. Yeah. Richard watching us over there. There you go. All right, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get another canvas. Oh, it looks pretty good on the phone, huh? On the camera phone. All right, so I'm gonna stop. I can add more. I started to add a little bit of orange to the sky. Maybe I'll just do a nice one final highlight to the sun light. But the danger is, that you want to keep going, right? That's the danger. Next thing you know, everything looks different. There you go. That's it. That's it. How does that look? So let me just show you. I'm gonna stop. There's more I can do, but you can see that. Okay, so just as long as you get the whole canvas. So I'm gonna show this a little bit and kind of talk about that. Can you see the ships or the boats? Yeah. Okay, so that's our city, or actually our seascape, right? Our ocean, our sun, right? That's it, folks. I hope you enjoy this assignment. I may come back and add more things, but for this session, I think that's it. I don't even know if I'm gonna add more things. I feel like this is pretty good. So this is 2 sessions, basically about 2 hours worth of painting. 1 hour the last week, and then this, this 1 more hour of details. So for the next assignment, but before I get to the next assignment, I wanted to show you a really good drawing that one of our students did here. And they are going to hopefully come back once we're able to have people here. Can you see that over there? They did this beautiful, beautiful drawing, this portrait of this woman, like, I don't know, it looks like a goddess woman to me, or I don't know if it's a particular character from a certain cartoon, or maybe just, or it's just a character from a story, or I don't know what the story is, but I really love this drawing. And I hope they can come back and finish it. We normally save the canvases and recycle them if people they don't come back. But this is so much beautiful, I don't want to cover it, right? I just kind of love the drawing. So we'll hold on to it a little more in hopes of the student that did this was several months ago. Maybe they can claim it back, and then, or we'll just recycle. But I really like it, so just wanted to show you this. So this is some of the student samples. If they come back, they can finish it. But now that I showed you that, I'm gonna do another assignment for the last hour. This assignment's more of a fun thing to do. It's like a game that we're gonna be doing, right? So right here, you have this nice blank canvas, and this were all donated, like by folks. Some of them, like we purchased, or Keith, our program director here, purchased several of them before, and other people have donated. So I wanted to say thanks to all the folks that have supported the Cultural Alliance throughout the years. Good. So this painting here, well, I'm gonna do a painting style before. Actually, the idea came about from you've probably done this, where the drawing is gonna be random. So I'm gonna ask my daughter that's here on the camera to draw a line. Now lines, let me show you. This is a game, but at the same time is a lesson. So I have paper here, right? And lines are all kinds of lines. So we have straight lines. This is a diagonal line because it's diagonal, but it's also a straight line. And this is a straight line. Well, sorta, right? If you use a ruler, it's a straight line, or straighter than that, right? But you get what I'm saying. So these are parallel lines, right? The diagonal lines. You got right, curvature lines. Can you see that on the camera? I'll do the right, circular, right, just like that. These are all lines. I can just do a scribble, wiggle the pen, so like that. Or I can do, kind of like letters. These are all lines, right? I can, even if I do, let's say I do the letter, let's say the letter S. It's a line, right? It's a continuous line, right? Or number 8, or a circle, or a square. These are all examples of lines, right? You can just scribble, scratch. That could be a line. So it could be. So what I'm gonna ask my daughter to do, basically when I was young, we used to play this game where like somebody draws a line for you, and you make it into an image. We used to do like, I'll give you an example. Like, I'll have my daughter draw a line right here, right? But I'm gonna paint it right now. I'm just gonna do a small example on the paper. Any line? You don't know how to do a line? Okay. It's because the idea for someone else to do the line is that it spurs you into something that you haven't planned. I'll give you an example like of something planned. If I do this, I know this could be the head of a cartoon character, right? But I already have that, you know, like what is this? A Ninja Turtle, right? Right. So I don't wanna create a line with something in mind. That's why I need someone else to do the line. You ready? There's no right or wrong answer here. That's the thing. So any line, like you can close your eyes and just scratch something on there. Go ahead. So you see the difference. Like when I started with something in mind, I was able to make something out of memory or, you know. There you go. So now here's the sample. And if you can zoom in a little bit to this part. So this is a sample. And then I'll do several of those and then paint them and just kind of do a free. Okay, so she drew this line. It's kind of like, well, I can do several things with this. I think I can see like I can make some kind of a monster, right? I'm gonna do that. This is like 2-dimensional because my brain, that's what it's thinking right now. You know. Let me see. You know. Now I'm thinking of that. Remember that movie with those unicorns that were digging through the trash can? That's kind of what I'm thinking. But you know what? This kind of looks like an insect with tiny hands. I didn't plan to draw this. It came about because I got this shape, and that's the idea. The idea of this assignment is you play at home with your child, with your siblings, or and you kind of challenge yourself, right? To do drawings. To do drawings based on like someone else is starting you off. Now these are kind of like horns, but you know what? I don't like the horns because it makes me think of like something. But I'm gonna make them into ears. You see? Or kind of like maybe. Now it looks like a chicken. You see? So it starts to, well, maybe, well, you could erase, but don't erase the original line. Because that's the challenge. You have to use that. Okay, so I ran out of paper. Actually, I'll use the other paper. And I can keep adding, right? So this is like, it's kind of like a bird slash, it's kind of like a bird slash dinosaur. So if there were birds back in the dinosaur era, this will be one of them, I guess. The mouth, I'm gonna make it more pointy. How's that? All right, I'm making things up, but the idea is I started with the line that I didn't design. So this is kind of like a game you can play. You don't have to create this big. I just wanted to show you something so you could do at home, right? So let's start with that. I'm actually gonna, let's see, maybe I'll use markers on the canvas so you can see, because I know on the picture it's less visible. Alright, my marker box is stuck over here. That's a good thing. That means we have a lot of markers. Alright. There we go. So I'm going to use markers on this canvas so you can see better on your, on this video. So let's see. Well, here's a nice Sharpie. Let's see if it works. Yep. So you ready? You're gonna put a line. Make it not too small. Maybe like maybe like this big at least. Like don't make a tiny, don't make a super small line. Or you know what, do whatever you want, okay? So I'm gonna hand this over to my daughter, right? Now she doesn't want to come out on video. So just trust me, she's working on a line. If you need ideas, here are some of the samples we did. It could be like grass, and just go for it. Don't be shy. It could be 2 lines, 3 lines, not like cover the whole canvas, just maybe 1, 2, 3 lines. You're planning, just make a line. You have to help me out, okay? Because if I do the drawing, I'll end up drawing something that I already know. So the idea is to guide you into drawing something that you were not planning. So I'm looking at my daughter. She's got can you do 2 more lines? They can cross or interact. I wanted to have a little bit of a challenge for me, okay? So that's a great line. Just do 2 more. They can be next to each other, over each other. It could be wavy lines, curly lines, circular lines, straight lines. The natural lines are more like kind of like a plan like this, right? So I'm just waiting for my daughter to finish her line. Artist herself. So that's why it's hard to come up with like a random mark, because a lot of times our brain is wired to do things that we want to do, kind of thing, so we have like she's already thinking, oh, if I do a line, it could go this way. So it's a challenge, right? It's supposed to be easy, but see, we have like maybe 2 minutes now, and she's still thinking, because maybe you should close your eyes and just do another line. Okay, I can work with that. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to add. Now, here is, can you see that? I did it with Sharpie, or she did it with Sharpie. I asked her to do 3 lines just to give it a little bit of variation. Now you can see this line's similar to the other one. It's not the same. And then here's another, so that's my challenge right now. I'll use the markers and see how that works. So I have to create an image, right? So this is kind of like abstract. So I have to create an image. Maybe you're at home, you're thinking, oh, you can see an animal, right? Maybe over here is like, maybe this is the head of some kind of sea monster, maybe. Depends, like maybe, let's see, maybe these are the fins. Right. Now I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just adding things, and you know what? Just keep working. Remember, if all else fails, you cover the canvas and something else, and this is no agenda kind of thing. So what's happening right now in your mind and with this assignment is your brain wants to do things that you know of, like you're conscious of, you're thinking, you're like, wow, I should do this, but this doesn't look like that. So your brain is at constant war between the things that you know of, and so this is kind of like a cool challenge. This is really a cool challenge. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of like freedom, and I don't know if I'm gonna be successful in creating. There you go. I kind of see something now. Now I kind of see something, but I'll just draw it as opposed to, and you'll kind of see it, hopefully. I won't say it. So this is a work in progress. Let's see. I'm trying to replicate this like mirror image. So it goes like this, and then there's like this. There's a kind of like this shape. And then it comes in like this, Wait, where did I go? I should have went the other way. Yeah, it should go, okay, so I should go this way. Okay. So now I'm kind of copying this image over here. And you can do whatever you want. If you're playing this at home, you can do whatever you want. But be patient, you know. I mean, you could work fast and you'll just have like color everywhere. But, you know, like challenge yourself. You know what this makes me think of? Kind of like little antennas, or like, what do you call those sea plants that are corals? Right? Coral reefs. They're kind of like, right? So I'm gonna create this creature. I don't know. It's not necessarily anything in particular, but I am gonna make my own creature. So maybe an alien form, marine animal. It's kind of starting to look like here are some nostrils. All right, let me turn the image over and you can see. So it's kind of like part marine animal, part like starting to have a face. Do you see it? This is kind of like the. So I'm just kind of working with that. I didn't plan for this again, you know. I didn't plan for this, but this is very fun. Then you can color it, you know, and make it alive, like a live creature. Kind of good for cartoonists, cartoon techniques. All right, so this is an attempt of drawing like a mouth kind of thing, right? Okay, so I have this idea keeps changing in my mind, and that's all right, because remember, we didn't have a plan. We didn't have a plan for this. Let's see. So I've created this little character, which is kind of funny, right? Which is like, it has this ginormous, monstrous head, but the body's kind of like a figure, right? And this is kind of fun, right? I don't know, can you see it over there on the camera? So here's like this little character, right? You know, it also makes me think of, you know, the sea animals, like crabs, they have this shape and they have this arms, right? But I don't know, I might, but you can see the idea, right? It started with this line, and that line. Now I have this character, and I can continue to color it and shade it in and all that, but I'm gonna keep drawing on this canvas and see what comes up, you know, like what else do I get? So we're gonna do the same thing. We have another 30 minutes for this class, so I'm gonna just keep adding on the same canvas. Once I fill the canvases with images, then I'll start like to play with that and see what happens. But right now we have created something, filled up a lot of the canvas. So I'll give my daughter the Sharpie, and I'll have her, here's a blue Sharpie or whatever, but do another three lines on the, anywhere you like. It could be on the anywhere, over, under, on the side. Imagine it's a blank canvas, but so I given her the markers, you know. So just give me 3 lines, and that, don't worry about it, because so if you're playing at home, now it would be the other way around. Now I would draw the line, and then my daughter will continue the painting, you know. But again, I'm doing this on pretty much, I'm doing the art. My daughter's only doing the camera work for the most part, but I need someone else to do the lines. All right, so so then you alternate. So you have 2 people, right? And you can have two canvases together or two drawings and kind of exchange. Here's yours, here's mine, and keep adding, you know, and you can see where your creativity takes you, you know. Some people, like, they say rules, like you have to draw a face, right? But I say leave it open, draw whatever you want, but try to do something that kind of symbolizes. Let me get my soda, guys. I'm kind of going dry right here from a lot of talk. But so now I have 3 lines, maybe, yeah, 3 lines, and there's 2 intersecting lines, and there is 1 line that's wavy. Can you see that on the camera here? There's 2 lines. So I'm gonna keep working with that. So right now you would imagine that this is another person. So like I did this, you know, my daughter would do this part. So you alternate the drawing, and this is what you want to do. If you're a parent, you want to do something like that with your child. This is what I'm coming up with. You can, like, you could have Mickey Mouse, you can have a dog or a puppy or anything, a cat. You know, yours should not look anything like mine. If yours is looking like mine, you're doing this the wrong way, right? Let me ask my daughter, you understand what I'm doing here? Yeah? I'm asking her because it'll help me. You can just say yes, no. You understand the game? Yes? Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. And so you know, this is a free exercise. So she gave me another intersecting lines. And intersecting lines, or like straight lines, they made me think of structures, like of buildings, of like man-made things, you know, like rulers, like a straight edge, you know, like things like that. But that's okay. I'm just trying to, let's see. So when I did this line, and extended this line, I didn't know what to do. So then I start adding lines, and that'll give me ideas. You see what I'm saying? So like, for instance, here we go, right? Now I can see something different. You know, now I can see, I can draw, like, maybe extend, and this is a gray color, so I'm going to use darker so you can see on the video. Yeah, I'm going to go with blue. So right now I don't know what I'm drawing. I'm just kind of adding. The reason why I did it in canvas, because at the end we're going to paint this, and it's going to be interesting to see what comes out, right? So now as I'm drawing, it starts to take shape. So now it makes me think of a plant, you know, like a leaf or some kind of plant, right? Maybe, well, let's make it a plant now that we're talking about it. All right. There's another leaf right here. It's kind of like a plant. Well, not that kind of plant, I guess. Maybe. Anyways, whatever kind of plant this may be. All right. Maybe you want to do the lines more of a. Well, let's see. Maybe you want to do more like a flower. Right. Now, if you're using pencil, you can erase. See, I can't erase because I'm using Sharpie, so you can see at home. But that's okay, because I'm just going to keep adding. And I don't know if, like, I'll just draw over, you know, draw over my old, right? So this is kind of like a flower. and it's just starting to take over. I have no agenda here. I can just continue to do this. I can, you know, now it's starting to look kind of like, what do you call those? Like some kind of sea animal, like urchins, maybe. Urchins have like, oh, maybe I'll make this into an urchin, right? Let's see. Like, right? Because that's what this shape made me think of, you know? So here's a sea urchin, maybe, right? We got pikey needles, right? Let's see. Maybe make it darker at the bottom. Yeah, something like that, right? So you can see there's no agenda. You ready for 2 more? We got more time, so we're gonna keep doing this. Come on, draw 3 more lines. There's more space there, so. So again, we got this. We have circular lines, wavy lines, sharp lines, straight lines, organic, more like if it was a plant, you know, like lines that go like this. So this is a good exercise about lines, and it's also free, like give you a lot of freedom to create. This is not the technical exercise they give you in school for class. So there they give you like a grid, right? And they give you little squares, and they say, you know, do different kinds of lines here, you know. So, you know, and then maybe you do, you know, you do things like this. You know, some people do this. I mean, whatever you want to do, you know, it may be. All right, so let me see that. Okay, hand over that canvas. All right, so again, we have 3 lines here. So you can see the first drawing is kind of taking like the main stage of our canvas here. I'm not sure I want to continue that, but we'll see what happens. You know, like we just, you know, we have so here are the 2 lines. So what I'll do is I'll use this line is similar to this line. So I'll try to replicate that shape and see what happens. And see what happens there. Maybe it'll become like a little character that's a friend of that one, right? I'll do my best to do that, but I can do whatever, right? That's the idea of this assignment. The idea of this assignment is to be free. And this could be this could be like an antenna. I don't know, like a sound wave, maybe, coming out of this person, this little character. So you have to give me different lines because I keep on thinking of the same images. So close your eyes and just scratch or something, you know. So, but you're doing great. Okay, I'm just saying, but it's not your fault. What it is is like I'm kind of the pain is taking over, you know, and I'm being too critical, so I have to step back. So this is an exercise in checking yourself too, right? Okay, so do more lines. That's it. Do more lines. Come on. You have to help me out. I can't do this assignment by myself, so I need your help. for this one. Thank you. Do me a favor, close your eyes and just draw long lines or whatever. So, so you can see there's like I said, there's different lines you can do. You can color them. At the end, we're gonna color all this, but right now we want to cover the canvas and we want to cover the canvas with the with as much shapes and little images that we can, you know. We may not end up with the same painting at the end, but that's okay. You know, this is more like an experimental process. So I'm integrating this game and I'm gonna try to make it into a painting, you know. Yeah, so all right, I'll add a little bit. You know what, I got carried away with the markers, so I'm gonna stop with the markers and I'm gonna go with the paint. We have about 15 minutes for the end of our class, so I'm gonna take advantage of these colors, right? And just kind of, you know, and see what happens. Just adding color, just kind of adding color. Where's my other palette? Right here. I'm gonna add yellow to here. It's kind of becoming like a flower, right? So this is probably gonna be a green color. All right. Oh, see, I also have a red color, so I'll use that. Oh wait, she gave me this 2 lines. Can you see over here? So this time I'm gonna go with the brush and I'm gonna use those lines. I'm gonna use those lines and create a shape. Maybe it's kind of looking like a mouth, maybe, right? Anyways, just keep on working. So as you can see, I'm kind of coloring in, but this is challenging because I want to make it something that I know, right? But it doesn't have to be like that. You can also get a big brush and you can keep on adding, maybe covering the We'll keep on drawing on this. I just wanted to use this paint up before I clean it up and kind of take advantage of that and not waste it, because this is a free exercise. This is a free exercise, meaning that you don't start with an idea. So this is totally random. But you can see I'm also, because I have the colors for the landscape out, it's kind of like what I'm doing, but that's all right. Just happen to have those colors out and I'm going to use them. So I'm going to try to put color everywhere that I can. I'll try to put the blue. So you can see these images were not planned. And I might keep them or I might not. But the idea is to, it's supposed to be like a game, you know, you add things and you add things and, you know, you have to play with 2 people. So for me, it was challenging because it was just myself. My daughter was not into the drawing at all. So you have to have 2 people. See, now this is becoming kind of like a fish, right? You can see maybe a shark. Well, the reason why I started to think of marine animals was because this shapes right here made me think of corals. Like the corals, the plants. Corals are actually animals, right? Coral reefs, yeah, coral reefs, they're animals. They are. Anyway, so I'm trying to use up all this color to wrap up our class. I hope you're enjoying the class. And we'll continue with this exercise. We'll use the same canvas. Maybe I'll show you other assignments, but I'm gonna try to do 2 assignments since we have 2 hours. And if you don't have paint at home, you can use color pencils, markers. Use whatever resources you have at home. Times are tough right now, so it's hard to have everything, or even it's tough to go out to the store. Right, some of our stores are not open. But if they are, go get some materials if you can. So I'm gonna use up all this paint. Let's see. I'm gonna use up all this paint, just kind of cover the canvas. I'm gonna try to save this image because I kind of think is a little bit interesting. This character that came up. Maybe I'll develop him. This is starting to look like a flower, like a rose. Maybe I'll kind of cover that up. I'll leave this characters on, and maybe use some of the clean water or cleaner water to cover everything, just so I can cover all the white. Maybe I'll use white. Yeah. Oops, I lost this little guy. I'm experimenting here, guys, so bear with me. Experimental. But I want to save this guy. So there you go. So I use an old rag to save the under drying, but I did want it to apply a coating of color. So you can see I'm like spreading the paint around with this rag that I'm using, and it's giving it this interesting effect. I did want it to cover the entire canvas, because there's something about an entire canvas full of paint. It makes you feel like there's something happening, right? When you have white, I mean, I'm an artist, so I feel like, oh, I need to color that in. I need to finish that. I see an unfinished painting. Anyways, this is not finished by any means. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up right there, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up right there and call it a day. We had lots of fun here. I didn't read your comments. Maybe you'll give me comments later on. Ideas. Show me pictures of your work. This was challenging because we didn't have an agenda. All right. So I'm not done. Can you see that there? I'm not done, but you can see I started with lines that were not part of my original design. And so this is what I have. It's in progress. I'll be adding more things. For the next session. So thank you guys for watching. Practice your art. You always have homework, right? Like the assignments we do, just keep on going. Like just because I stop the class doesn't mean you get to stop. And then these videos, they stay on for you to review later. All right. Shout out to all the people watching us. Shout out to everyone that has been watching us every Friday. This is expression only, just to keep your mind active. I'll be doing more exercises of more realistic examples. Oh, but before I let you go, can you zoom into the drawings behind me? Yeah. or like you don't need to zoom in, but like, can you see the picture of Kobe Bryant? So what I'll do is I'll kind of talk about that before I wrap this up. So with the grid technique, you can see here, I use this source. You see that? So I use this image, and I copied it over here. You can see that right there, got it? So this is a drawing of Kobe Bryant, right? This is more of a realistic example, right? You can see that right there. And then Yayo is working, or he actually finished. Can you see Gigi? Okay, so I'll move the chair out of the way and zoom in a little bit here. There you go. So I'll kind of show you what the progress on that looks like. And with that, you enjoy the rest of your day. Keep drawing. Enjoy your weekend. I know it's tough with the situation, but remember, stay safe. Wash your hands. Use the mask if you need to. If you go outside or whatever, you know, like try to limit that if possible. Tune us in every Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. I hope you enjoy the class. If you didn't watch live and you want to watch this later, it's there for you to revisit. Share it if you like. This is our third session that we've done. We're going to continue doing this in the meantime until we are able to meet again. Have a great day. Take care of yourselves.